People throughout history have given up things that are to their benefit for the sake of their values. Love, truth, selflessness, care for the least, last, lost, lonely. Some examples from African American history: Muhammad Ali, whether you agree with him or not, refusing to go into the military service, citing his religious beliefs, cost him jail time, lost opportunities to fight during his prime, and he was stripped of his heavyweight title. Rosa Parks, refusing to go to the back of the bus. She was arrested and suffered financial hardships due to her unpopular stance in segregated Montgomery, Alabama. Jackie Robinson, courageously enduring relentless racial attacks while breaking Major League Baseball's color barrier. Lieutenant John Robert Fox, an American artillery officer who, while stationed in northern Italy, his position was overrun by a German attack, and he deliberately drew the enemy's fire in order to give his troops an opportunity to win the battle. In 1997, he was posthumously received the Medal of Honor. Medgar Evers. During the civil rights movement, he worked tirelessly for racial equality. Under constant threat of attack, Evers was shot to death by a sniper as he walked to the front door of his house. And then, of course, the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr., the most famous civil rights leader in history. Even though he had many legitimate threats on his life, he forged ahead with his powerful message of racial equality, and ultimately his bold stance and unwillingness to cower cost him his life. We know of others, right? Government workers today who stay in because they believe in what they're doing, even though their jobs are precarious. First responders sometimes do this work because they want to serve, and yet their lives are on the line most days. These fishers in our story today had the worst day turn into the best day. They're primed to scale up. They've caught enough fish that, depending on the math, their take could support them for 24 to 36 years working at a regular wage. They're set for life. They could buy a bigger boat or boats. They could buy a couple more nets or 100. They could employ some local teens to help out, or all the local teens, and pay them a salary. Instead, they leave their cash crop to follow Jesus. Some commentators call this story the Great Reversal. That's not the only reversal, them leaving their nets and following Jesus. We know other call narratives in our ancient text. Moses hesitates until his brother agrees to speak for him. Isaiah, the most famous prophet, has to get over his feeling of being unclean before he can say yes. Jonah, another prophet, runs the other direction and ends up in a fish for 3 days. Many who are invited to do outrageous things believe they're unworthy. You hear Peter, "I'm just a lowly human. Why would you want me?" Jesus calls the least skilled, the least holy, the least ready. This is part of the great reversal. Here's another reversal. In the Hebrew text, which the fishers know by heart, the catching of people was by God in nets for judgment. Jesus is going to take the disciples with him to go catch people for mercy. The language that's used is jubilee. Jubilee was a practice where every 50 years, it was an economic practice, all debts were forgiven. People got to start over. This year is the year of Jubilee in the Catholic Church. They're not forgiving debts, but they're inviting people to journey, to reflect, to review their lives, to think about what does it mean to take care of the most vulnerable. A great reversal. Another thing that's upside down in this story is the cooperation with landlubber Jesus. He's from Nazareth, a landlocked town. They follow his instructions. Who would do that, right? Sometimes the gifts of God are free, and sometimes we have to do the unimaginable. We have to cooperate with God. We may have to go out in the water again. We may have to cast out clean nets again. We may have to fish again after a night of not even catching our bait for the next day. St. Augustine said, "Without us, God won't. Without God, we can't." So what does it mean to push out into deeper water, to take a chance? What's available when we realize what's possible that we've been avoiding? What can happen when we admit our lack of courage, our playing small, as Marianne Williamson calls it? What reversal happened in your life? The unexpected, the call to something unexpected, surprising. I want to say crazy, but bad word. What happened in your life when you cooperated with God around something unthinkable? When you left the shallow water and trusted the power of love? This could have gone many ways. They didn't have to leave their cash crop and follow Jesus. The fishers could have used their bonus to help someone else start a business. They could have stayed home to care for aging Zebedee. They could have sold the fish for fertilizer and fed the whole town. They could have expanded jobs to the local pier. They could have created a living wage for all the workers. They could have done less each day so as to enjoy the important things in life. Each of us are called to make a difference. And that call comes to each of us in a unique way. Our response to that call will be particular to us. But it's not one and done. This is a call that's ongoing. These are disciplines of reversal, or reorienting, or refocusing, if that language works for you. Refocusing from things that do not contribute to our humanity to things that do contribute to our humanity. And what's the church's role in all of this reorienting? I want to suggest a few things and then use your creative imagination. On our inner journeys, I heard a story this week. Sal used to ask you each week, are you going to spend your 10 minutes of quiet a day this week? And the next week he would come back and say, did you? Did you spend 10 minutes in quiet this week? I'll put that challenge for you again. That's part of the inner journey. Prayer, contemplation. We have an opportunity on Thursday nights to gather for quiet contemplation. And next Sunday after worship, there's going to be a documentary that will increase our resilience, part of the inner journey. After the service next Sunday, we'll listen to a documentary, watch a documentary, Call to Courage. that features Brene Brown's work. What about on the outward journey? Many of you serve for nonprofits. I'm guessing that came out of a call, out of an invitation to step out of your comfort zone, to do something for someone else. Some of you shovel your neighbors' driveways. Some of you do beach cleanups. Your work sponsoring an Afghani family was part of the discipline of changing the trajectory of the world, a great reversal. This week is Valentine's Day. Who might you extend a note of love to? A card, a text, a call. And then there's our journey together. We put up pride tents and have picnics for the community. We do Camino walks. We worship together. This is part of our journey together, nurturing resilience and courage and the belief that together we're better than alone. What could you do to nurture this community? We got a friendship hall that's not usable right now. Could you invite some of the folks who are isolated over for a little potluck? Not the whole church, but just a few folks for a little potluck, just so people who are isolated have some company. And then this week, Black History Month event at All Saints Episcopal Church will be another opportunity for us to gather as community. They have a black choir coming at 6:30 on Wednesday night. There are many opportunities. You're creative. You know what's pulling at your heart. Let's go back to Bart for a minute. One word, and we were turned into fools. I'd listen. Later, I'd try to make sense of them. I never could, but I could feel them. They got inside you, made you wonder and wrinkle. He reversed things. Everything changed. You started seeing everything with a new mind, a world spinning within a world. The reversals made me want to plant what hadn't belonged, lilies in wheat fields. The Word became flesh. Our feet were filthy and we stank. And then he'd point at birds or a stalk of grain. We'd even kneel before a flower. Maybe nothing he said or loved was impossible. Maybe that was it. It all seemed possible. What's possible for you?